There's no playing rope-a-dope in this ring. Ultimate fighting is half organized sport, half car wreck. And this is the cleaned-up version. Find out how Ultimate Fighting narrowly escaped being banned.
Discretion is advised.
It's called Ultimate Fighting, and it's a brutal spectacle, one that Washington lawmakers wanted to ban a few years ago. Well, now it's back, and as Derry Alexander found out, the organizers hope this time it really catches on.
My adrenaline is just pumping. There's so much testosterone. I love it.
It's billed as the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and though flashing lights and exploding pyrotechnics make it look like a pro wrestling match, there's one big difference.
Pro wrestling's fake.
This is very real.
We're just missing teeth there.
And the towel has been thrown in. That's it.
And if UFC President Dana White and a growing legion of rabid fans have their way, you'll be seeing a lot more of it.
I think in the next 5 years, we're going to be as big as boxing or the WWF.
Not bad for a sport that just 5 years ago was down for the count.
And they starting. Here we go.
The Ultimate Fighting Championship got its start in 1993 as a no-holds-barred, anything-goes brawl.
The first time I fought, I was amazed that I didn't go to jail and they actually gave me a check.
Two fighters locked in a steel cage. The one left standing wins.
Vicious shots to the head. Oh, that's it.
The only two restrictions I had imposed at the time was no eye gouging and no biting.
Lift him up, take him back.
This macho mayhem was the brainchild of Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert Rorion Gracie. He called it the Ultimate Fighting Championship, put it on pay-per-view, and fight fans ate it up like a piece of raw steak.
We were hoping to sell 45,000 homes, but we sold 85,000, and then it just kept growing up until we reached 300,000 homes, which is pretty good.
Taylor Tooley took a beating.
But like the old saying goes, the bigger they are,
C1, that was the last team that
the harder they fall.
The way it was marketed in the beginning, the most brutal, violent, bloody sport in the world, really worked for them. But essentially what it did was it gave the politicians a platform to stand up and say, you know what, this is wrong and we don't like it.
Chief among the protesters, Arizona Senator John McCain. He urged governors to ban the sport some called human cockfighting. TV money dried up. The UFC was TKO'd.
Live from the MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Now it's back with new management and a more TV-friendly show. The turning point came last November when the UFC brought legendary tough guy Ken Shamrock back to fight in Las Vegas, selling out the MGM Grand.
I think we got a great push in the November event when I fought Tito Ortiz.
I'm going to ask you if you're ready. You've given that.
And I think that's what we need. We need to keep it going.
A front row salted with celebrity faces certainly didn't hurt.
Huge fan of the sport.
To me, it's like a rock concert.
I mean, it's pretty raw and intense.
We pay these prize fighters a lot of money. We don't get the crowds like this.
And Ultimate Fighting is starting to draw female fans, too.
I'll tell you, it's not as bad as people think it is.
Loretta Hunt writes for Full Contact Fighter magazine.
What do you say to people who say, this is nothing but two barbarians jumping into a cage trying to beat each other to death? I would have said that, for the most part, they were true a few years ago. I think the big thing that everyone's missing at this point is that the sport has evolved.
It had no choice.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have it anymore.
Now the fighters are split into separate weight classes, and old crowd favorites like hair pulling,
Ichihara in total length.
headbutts,
Johnston, and he's got him in the mounted position.
and elbow and knee strikes to the head are out.
He's out. My goodness.
Society said, hey, we can't have this. So they refined it, they put rules, they turned it into a sport.
David Tank Abbott has had more Ultimate Fighting bouts than any other combatant in the history of the UFC.
Today, these guys can specifically train for a partner. There's time limits. It's a different animal, but it's the closest thing to real fighting that there is.
The new rules are designed to change the focus from stand-up brawling to a more technical form of fighting.
What's so cool about it?
What's so cool about the UFC? Well, you know, one, doing something I know few other men can do.
With a mixed martial arts record of 4-1.
23-year-old heavyweight contender Frank Mir is an example of the new breed of fighter promoters hope will move the sport from raunch to respectability.
Please welcome Frank Mir.
So this is where all the training happens.
Like most of today's Ultimate Fighters, Mir cross-trains in different disciplines, ranging from boxing to jiu-jitsu. And what happens when old school meets new wave?
Here we go.
Are you ready? Let's do it! Let's go! Get ready!
The answer came quickly in last February's sellout bout between Frank and the Tank.
Tank got tapped out in 45 seconds.
Mir was the clear winner.
Going right down the ankle.
Does that mean this new ready for prime time version of the old bad boy brawls will be a winner too?
Most people that do like boxing or like any kind of contact sports, if they watch it and they follow enough, will fall in love with this.
But for a really big payday, Ultimate Fighting still faces some pretty tough opponents.
Is there any circumstance under which you would condone this sport?
None.
Dr. Peter Carmel is on the board of trustees of the American Medical Association.
The aim of the sport is to damage another human being. Any sport that has that as its aim is both morally and medically offensive.
It should be noted that the AMA would also like to ban boxing, a sport mixed martial artists claim is far more dangerous.
I just want to make sure that in our conversation about Ultimate Fighting, we're referring to the new Ultimate Fighting and the new regulations.
Right. You have to realize that what they've done is window dressing. They haven't padded the feet or padded the hands.
There it is!
So that the G-forces of the blows are just what they were before.
The fighters do wear 6-ounce gloves, but they're designed to protect their hands, not their opponent's head.
This is just an attempt to make a violent sport more acceptable, and it's just not doing it.
Are you afraid of any lasting injuries?
No, I mean, everybody's mortal. You know what I mean? Tomorrow I can slip in the bathroom and bust my head open, you know. But I don't think about it every time I brush my teeth.
So 10 years after the first Ultimate Fighting bout, the battle for respectability rages on.
People still think that it's these guys going in and, you know, wanting to rip each other's heads off. When in actuality, it's a more tactical, chess-like game.
I do it for the person who enjoys technique. I do it for the guy who enjoys watching a matador take down a bull.
But even fans admit that powerful memories, like powerful bulls, go down hard.
To some people, it'll always be just two guys going in there and beating the crap out of each other.
Front headlock and a knee as a backup.
After all, chess games aren't won by knockout.
Good lateral movement. Oh!